Saying that politics don't belong in metal or don't belong in music in general never ceases to amaze me. But as y'all know, I love to psychoanalyze. I love to sort of get to the bottom of why people think or say what they do. And so while this is going to be sort of a broader commentary on politics don't belong in music in general, but it is mostly going to be centered around metal specifically, because there have been multiple times in my life where I've talked to someone that doesn't particularly like metal, and one of their reasons is how political it is. Granted, I think these people are barking up the wrong tree because they'll turn around and listen to Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar, but I digress. Metal is art, and art at its core is for expression. Since the dawn of time, whether it's comedies, plays, musicals, music itself, acting, any form of literature or poetry, any sort of commentary that goes against the grain has been the culture war and started counterculture for decades, if not centuries. The nature of trying to think critically about a situation that you are in, discuss that in a way that could be controversial or polarizing, or back in the day literally get you prosecuted, jailed, or fucking murdered, has been the bedrock of that free expression. And if you take away that in any capacity, you are instantly invalidating what art stands for to begin with. Because while there is a lot of mindless entertainment and things that are just supposed to be a vibe, to be a jam, 9 times out of 10, music has some sort of political thing or something about the human condition. And even if it's not outright going against something in the world or provoking some sort of critical thinking, it's most likely some serious shit that like the songwriter went through, or just a general commentary on mental health or violence, war, whatever it may be. To the people saying that metal has gotten too political over time, what the fuck are you talking about? Dude, the thrash metal scene in the 1980s was literally built upon politics. Do I need to remind you where hardcore punk came from? Do I need to remind you where grindcore and crust punk came from? How black metal literally was going against organized religion in a way that you never really had seen with music before. So many of the classic heavy metal artists like Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple had some very introspective things about war, about politics, about the state of the world and inner conflict. So I don't want to hear that it's something that is because of the new generation. And we're not even getting into the grunge movement, which was very centered around mental health, which isn't political, but unfortunately, a lot of people make it political. And keep in mind, I am extremely anti-censorship. I don't really hide my morals or values or beliefs on this channel, but by the same token, I think that people should be able to say what they want, when they want, how they want it, and they shouldn't necessarily be put down because of it. Is that to say that there aren't politics that I think are irredeemably unexplainable and you could never get me to agree with them? Yeah, it's why I don't listen to a lot of NSBM. I feel like once your politics and your opinions start to come in the way of who deserves rights, what race is inferior to what race, I think that's kind of where you lose me a little bit, and I would like to think it's where most people are lost. That is one thing that I can fully agree with in terms of detractors of politics and music and people that don't necessarily think you should be able to say everything, because God forbid the amount of people who are like racist or homophobic or transphobic and just put it out there as, it's my opinion, it's free speech. Yeah, it is, and at the end of the day, I'd like them to be able to say it so we know who it is. Because do you really think if there's some sort of legislation that cracks down on that, the people aren't gonna still be thinking that? It's what made the NSBM scene start off to begin with. It was people flocking together because they were outcasts and they knew that they'd get fucking crucified if they spouted that bullshit anywhere else. And if you don't like politics in your music, that is perfectly fine. That's your prerogative. And at the end of the day, that's the beautiful thing. You can choose what you listen to. If you want politics in your music, there are so many bands that fit that. If you don't, there are plenty of bands that fit that. And in the same way that I believe that free speech should be something that is ratified universally, I also think that you can choose not to listen to something for any reason that you might like. If you're a Christian and you are truly turned off and cannot stand some of what black metal is about, perfectly fine, good on you. If you're someone that is more right-leaning and so you don't like a lot of the socialist or generally speaking more progressive ideals of a lot of grindcore and hardcore punk, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to listen to that. If you're someone that doesn't like Christian metal because you don't like Christianity being pushed on you or forced down your throat, that's perfectly fine. That's the thing about art. You can choose to listen to whatever you want, but you choosing not to listen to it doesn't mean that it shouldn't exist for someone that does agree or is just neutral neutral and doesn't care about the topic to be able to listen to it. It should be a freedom, because the same music that you might not resonate with, someone may resonate with and gravitate towards entirely, and it may feel like they are understood or that a message is applied to them. You can maintain neutrality on something without outright detesting it or holding some sort of resentment towards it. Because I've talked a lot on this channel about how NSBM is a scourge, a plague. I do not understand it whatsoever. Would I listen to an NSBM band if I liked the instrumentation? Maybe, but I wouldn't go out of my way to support an NSBM band depending on what they specifically believe. In all of the videos I've talked about it, I've said, if that's your prerogative, if that's truly what you believe, or if you want to support that, or if you just like the music, go for it. I don't necessarily see it that black and white. I don't think that every single person that listens to NSBM are automatically, you know, Nazi. If anything, in my new Discord server, there's been multiple conversations about NSBM, and there are people that are very progressive, very left-leaning in their opinions that listen to some NSBM bands. It doesn't mean they outright agree with it, and I think that's something a lot of people miss the mark on. They think if you listen to or buy some sort of merchandise from an artist that has some questionable themes that you automatically support and condone the messaging. Newsflash, there's a lot of people that listen to metal and don't even give a shit about the lyrics and don't care and don't look and don't mind the lyrics. Controversiality has always been a constant in the metal community. It's always tried to provoke some sort of reaction, and not even in the NSBM way. Metal started off by provoking and stoking the flames of what could be considered status quo and norm. When genres like black metal and death metal and grindcore and gore grind came around, they were so edgy, they were so out there, their lyrics were obscene and absurd. They still are. Same with a lot of like brutal death metal bands and slam metal bands. Does every single person that liked those genres agree with it? No. It's very tongue-in-cheek, it's very controversial, it's Z-list horror at its finest, and it's something to do with the community and culture around it. Are some of these people actually believing it? Are some of the musicians actually believing it? Probably. Statistically, there are going to be people who blend into the background or just outright wear it on their sleeve that they agree with it, they think it's good lyricism, they condone it. But more often than not, I feel like most people understand that it's tongue-in-cheek, and if you are on the outside looking in, or you're someone that just doesn't want politics and music, it can be easy to forget where metal came from, how it got to the point where it currently is at, and the fact that a lot of the people that love metal don't necessarily agree with the messaging all of the time. I would say that it's more swampy, it's more murky and muddied, it's very gray area, and it's just person by person, band by band, because there are certainly bands that I disagree with entirely, but I still love them, I still listen to them. And on the contrary, there are bands that are pretty much all of my beliefs wrapped up into one that I don't really fuck with. I'm a fairly devout Christian, I'm a Lutheran, I believe in Christ, I believe in Christianity, I've said that many times on this channel, but I don't really listen to any Christian metal, and one of my favorite genres is black metal. I have listened to some of the most obscene, depraved, anti-Christian, pro-Satan music that you would ever imagine in your entire life. I don't condone it, I don't agree with it, I just love the music. And I think a lot of people could get a smack in the face for reality and just a reality check in general, that you can listen to something without it testing who you are as a person. It could give you a different perspective, it could let you know how other people feel and think about the world, and if you start thinking of it like that, it can be much better and more fun to listen to and provide you with more insight on why the people that disagree with you in the first place. And if your foundation as a person and your morals and your values are so tuggable and pushable that the slightest pushback from anything can test you and make you question it and change your whole mood, you might need to check your own lifestyle and your own mindset with what you believe and ask yourself, are your beliefs that shaky that they are so easily tested? Just some food for thought. I didn't mean to get preachy. This is just my opinion at the end of the day. Agree or disagree, you can let me know your opinions down in the comment section below. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is, my name is Jay Morris, and I'm signing off saying farewell.